Awesome.
Yeah. Okay. So, hi, I'm Dr. Carolina Tillotson. I'm the owner of the Wellness Connection and a chiropractor. And today, this is our Live Well Community Spotlight. And I'm on with Claire Horner. Claire Horner is the owner of ATL Shrink. So, you are called the relationship translator.
Yeah. My couples call me that. I didn't name myself that.
Okay. And she is a therapist and advocate for clients seeking relief from sexual assault and those pursuing healthy relationships. You have worked with a variety of people. Like
Yeah.
when I look at the different write-ups about and in talking to you, you are very inclusive in your practice and have
Yes.
experience with lots of different groups. And the reason that we are talking to Claire is because, first off, she was you were the spotlight presenter on the February workshop for a Live Well workshop when we could meet in person. And we talked about pet peeves. And
Yes. So great. Great discussion.
it was so, who knew it would be so timely for what we would be going through with a pandemic?
Yeah. Yeah. Pet peeves are right in our faces for sure.
So I would love for you to do like a little recap on pet peeves and why it's important to know and recognize what our pet peeves are.
Sure.
I had mentioned to you off the camera that people who attended that particular workshop found it to be incredibly helpful, especially when times of stress hit an all-time peak with all the stuff that we're going through right now. And
Yeah.
I feel like it could be serving for people that might be watching this.
Yeah, I would hope so. I mean, we all have pet peeves, and I mean, even mine are just, I call it, kind of jacked up right now. They are on fire. So yeah, so pet peeves, for me, everybody has them, and they're things that just annoy us in our day-to-day life. They can be big things, they can be tiny things. And, the way I think about them is that they are the things that that it's like we have a code, and when people break our code, we either get angry or hurt.
Mm.
And so if you were to take an inventory, which is what we did, we took an inventory of our pet peeves. We were looking at our pet peeves while driving, while at home, and then we were looking at the grocery store, which is one of my favorites. And so when you take an inventory of that, you can actually see a pattern in what bothers you, what upsets you, what hurts you. And they typically fall in some key categories, which to me, our code for living is related to our core values. And we talk about core values in so many different ways. And honestly, it's typically pretty boring, I think. And mainly because it's not used practically. We don't look at it very specifically. Like, why does, if you were at the workshop, I talked excessively about my issue with sponges in the kitchen and, and why that bothers me. Or like using blinkers, I'll use this example.
Yeah,
So
use the blinker example.
Using blinkers is something that's really important to me, and it drives me crazy when people don't. But I figured out that that's because I have a core value of a desire for communication.
Mm.
Communication is actually connected to safety for me. So communicating what you're doing on the road tells me that you want me to be safe. And I know that's like diving deep into it, but those things are happening in the background all the time anyway. If your partner's doing something repeatedly, and, especially right now,
Right, when
we're
we're spending
falling,
more time than ever with people.
yes, we're falling over each other in the house. I had to go in the closet last night to do some work. I was like, I need another spot. And it wasn't because, he's not accommodating in that way, but I was like, I need a new spot.
Yes. Yes, we're all finding our new spots.
Yeah. So when we trip up on these pet peeves, it gives us an opportunity, really. And so like for the blinker scenario, if I know that that's why it bothers me, because if you break that, then I feel like you're making me unsafe in my life or on the road, then I can deal with that. Like, okay, well, maybe you don't, but guess what? Tomorrow or in 5 minutes, I'm going to break somebody else's code on the road. And I'm probably going to make them feel some kind of way. So that to me is kind of the takeaway for right now, is that we're crashing into each other, at least at home. Everywhere else we're 6 feet apart.
Maybe not on the road, but at home.
Yeah. But you're also, if you're running to the store and somebody's not social distancing, your anxiety may go up. Or if you're not feeling this whole thing at all and you're thinking that this is a complete overreaction, you've got your own set of things going on. So the takeaway is know that you're breaking other people's codes too. You're breaking your partner's codes, your kids' codes, and you're probably hurting and making them angry in different kind of ways too. So the bridge there is for us to talk about that. I think,
communication,
granted, it's you now know that is one of my
It is one of your codes.
That's one of my codes. So I'm going to bump that up right now. I'm going to probably say, I need some personal time, or I need you to put the sponge away right now. But I am also going to be keenly aware and empathetic about what my partner's codes are and pet peeves are, or things that make him feel better and calmer. Picking up around the house makes him feel calmer. So I might be real attentive to doing that so that we can have kind of a give and receive going on with this, because we could be miserable and we don't have a timeline. I mean, people have to have their own different timelines for when this is going to stop, but we don't have that clarity. So.
Well, and what I love about the pet peeves and how you presented it and related it is that it really grounded it. Everyone has pet peeves and things that just bug them. No matter who does it, it's just like, please don't do that.
Yeah.
And so to relate that back and know that that's really a reflection of really what's going on the inside. And it gives more insight into who you are. And I think having that awareness can take the edginess off of it.
Yeah.
If you understand that that's really like a place for you to look at and just be aware of.
And right now in high stress, they're going to be, the things that are irritating to us are going to be, there's going to be a magnifying glass on them. They're going to be bigger, quicker to trigger off.
Absolutely. And I was talking to you about edginess, that it just seems like you get there a little bit faster.
Yes.
And the rules for how we are supposed to relate to each other in public are ever changing. They're being
very much.
And we're not part of the committee that's rewriting those rules. And so we're trying to keep up. And so I think it's also creating new pet peeves that maybe weren't there before.
Right. But keep in mind that the chances are that they're under the same umbrellas for you.
Okay. So it all relates back to something within that was there anyway.
Yeah. And let me list off the ones that we talked about just in case that's helpful. So kindness, security. I always miss one. I have to read them. Kindness, security, respect, adventure, and independence. So those are just over time, as I've done this exercise with couples and individuals, and even in the workshop, these are kind of core things that people tend to gravitate towards. Again, kindness, security, respect, adventure, and independence. So if those are in your code and people are breaking those right now, it's understandable.
Sure. One of the other reasons that I wanted to have you on this Facebook Live is I'm all about people living well, moving well, thinking well, healing well for their body. And that is something that you're very much in that world as well.
Yes.
And with stress levels rising and people still needing care, you have turned and really like magnified how you are reaching out to people. So not only is Claire made herself available to the people that you serve as a therapist, but you are a leader among those who provide for people that are dealing with sexual assault and violence, and the people that care for people in that group.
Mm-hmm.
And with the COVID and the distancing and all of that, you really have amplified making sure that practitioners are connected
Yes.
and cared for as well, which I love.
Right.
What has that been like?
It's been great. So if you're an Atlanta therapist or practitioner of any kind, actually, who specializes in sexual trauma, I have a networking group that we meet, and so that we can be providing services where my services end and someone else's begins. Like I can refer to Dr. Carolina for body work and chiropractic and wellness. And so that group, the sexual trauma specialist database, we've been meeting once a week, and kind of two different times, alternating each week, just to have an hour to have a hangout session, see how people are doing, and just supporting each other, because trauma is heavy by itself.
It is.
And add this on top of it, and it's just changed some. It hasn't, I don't know if worse is a better way to put it, because there are some things that actually are helping people who have been through trauma, meaning that empathy among other people in their life is up.
Okay.
So, this feeling of lack of safety is something that people with PTSD and people in trauma recovery have all the time. And so now some more people around them are saying, oh, this is what your life is like every day.
Okay.
And so there's some understanding there. So that's what our meetings are. We just kind of connect and support each other. What's going on? What resources do you need? How's your brain today?
Which is a very important question. How is your brain today, right?
It
to have
is.
someone be able to ask you that and really want to hear the answer.
Yeah. And we have all of our lingo, and, we talk about the nervous system constantly in trauma land. So,
which I love. I mean, that's the world I live into, is the nervous system.
Yeah.
So it's a good place.
So you had asked me, how I'm kind of managing with this.
Yeah.
And
so talk about what you are doing for yourself to make sure that you are feeling good, thinking well.
So during this time, everybody, just about everybody I talk to, whether it's, client, friend, family member, everybody says the same phrase. I don't know why, but I just can't get my brain to do X, Y, Z.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm calling it COVID brain, which is basically that every single person, wherever you are on the spectrum of fear or whatever, we have 10 extra windows open. Like if you were to, on your computer, we all have 10 extra windows open and running in the background, whether it be safety or, missing people dying and not being able to hug people and be there. And, I'm watching a partner not be able to visit their spouse in the hospital for weeks, these things. So we all have this stuff running in the background. So it's like when your computer starts like chugging along, that's what's happening to us. I told my group last week, because I've got groups and individuals all moved over to video. And I told them I think it was last Sunday or the Sunday before, I finished breakfast and I took my plate to the bathroom.
Okay.
I didn't get all the way there,
Sure.
but I was literally on my way to take my plate, to put it away, but I went to the bathroom instead of the kitchen. Like like that is the schism that's kind of happening in our brains, or not finding the right word. I put a meeting down for the wrong day. Now that happens every once in a while, but that stuff is way up right now. And so some of the things I'm doing, the first thing that I do when I get really stressed out is I watch more stand-up
I love that.
comedians.
I do that, something similar. I keep a list on my phone of the funniest people.
Yes.
So I can just like go look at YouTube videos or something.
Exactly. I had the first 2 weeks, I can't tell you how many stand-up comedian breaks I had to take. It kind of replaced my meditation time, to be honest.
That's okay. Laughing time.
Yeah, I
That's
had
important.
to. Yeah, because it activates a different part of your brain.
It does.
And so I needed that to kind of bring myself down. Walks, sometimes 3 times a day. If I haven't had one, I know I'm not going to be in a good place.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not working on Saturdays right now. I had to change up my schedule. Usually I meet with people in 3 session blocks. So I'll have like a block of 3 people and then a 2-hour break and then a block of 3 people. Nope, not happening right now. I can't meet with more than 2. And honestly, having one in an hour and one in an hour is, if I can manage it, which can't really with the number of people, but that I've had to switch that and honor what's needed. The other thing is, I don't know if you've seen Pluto the dog.
I haven't.
Have you seen Pluto? Oh my gosh, Pluto it's a talking dog, and he started out with a message about COVID, and it was just the cutest thing. So,
is this cuteness. A YouTube thing? Can people go? Okay.
Pluto living. Pluto living.
Okay.
Yes, he just put out a message to Nova Scotia this morning. It was adorable.
Oh, I'm gonna have to look him up. Okay.
Yes, so he's ATL Shrink's mascot for COVID.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Zoom calls, with colleagues and friends. And then my therapy.
Okay.
Please, that poor woman. And for about 3 weeks, it was like my session time was my calmest, best, most enjoyable time of the day, which is how I know I'm doing the right thing in my life. But the rest of the time I was, my nervous system was really, really just keyed up. And I was trying to figure out what to do next, and trying to keep up with what the law changes were and how telehealth was moving, and trying to keep up with all the therapist forums and what everybody was saying. And it was just, I haven't been that stressed out in years. And so it took some time. And this week of, like making sure my water is up and my meditation time is good. I had to go outside before this. I've got the window open as wide as it'll go.
I've got my window as well.
Yeah. Just that nature.
Yes.
Nature is so grounding. We use that word a lot over here. And
I do it in my world as well. We talk about grounding.
Yeah.
I love that. So
everything's okay. Like that, what you're doing, most things that you're doing right now, you might be overindulging in lots of different types of things that you wouldn't normally. Most people are either cooking or, something. A lot right now.
All the banana bread, all of it.
Gosh, the no knead bread. I can't. Yeah. So keeping those things and keeping that judgment down is going to be important. We're going to come out of this. We're going to calm down. But right now we just need to be nice and easy with ourselves and allow ourselves to lay around if we need to. And remember, those 10 windows are open and we can't close them.
I love that.
The computer.
And it's really about giving ourselves like the grace and the space for a new time, for a new normal, and to welcome it a little bit instead of fighting it. Not that
Yeah.
this will stay this way, but just being kind
Yeah.
to ourselves during a situation when things are very strange for
Hmm.
everyone.
Yeah. And honoring, there's a difference between routines and rituals. Actually, a colleague made a post and was kind of brought that to mind for me. And, really leaning into things that you might, like in your rational brain, you might think, why would I need to do that? Like I've been suggesting that people, like when they get ready in the morning, if they're going to be working from home, to literally walk out the door, go get in the car, sit in the car for maybe even just 5 minutes, even close the door, walk back in the house, and go sit down where you're going to work. Like those processes, our brain and our body needs them
Mm-hmm.
to make distinctions. I have one of mine is like, when I get to the office, I turn the lights on, I fluff the pillows, I fix the blinds, I, make sure there's Kleenex and, things like that. I can't do that right now, but I can light a candle on my desk.
Yeah, you can.
I have a corner of my desk each week that I change and refresh it so that I know that this is a new week, this is a new time. And, when I close down at the end of the day, I turn the lights off, I clear the desk, I change clothes and shift into nighttime. But I have to do a lot more things deliberately because there's not the natural leaving, coming and going.
Sure. So that led right into the last question I was going to ask you is what are action steps people can take to, if they're starting to feel edgy or if they're starting to feel like this is really uncomfortable, which honestly, every person I have seen in my practice has talked about it being a really uncomfortable time. I don't know anyone who feels like they're in their element right now,
Yeah.
totally. So what is one or two action steps or general steps that people can do if they start to feel really edgy or would like to connect back to themselves?
Well, I always go for senses because I think we have them with us all the time, no matter where we are, it's free. And so even just taking 3 minutes, even just to go through your senses and say, like, how do my clothes feel on my body? Like, what's the temperature in the room? What is, what did I eat last? or what am I seeing? Name the colors. I'm gonna put up a walk with me is what I'm calling it, that I did last week, where I just go around where I was walking and name things and kind of go through the senses.
Oh, I love that.
And when you get done, hopefully your breathing has slowed down some, your thoughts are active because you're using your brain to name things like colors, and that's a leaf, and it may sound silly, but your brain needs that right now. It needs something to focus on and to to calm we need to come down from that 10 9 8 kind of upper level freak out time and walk ourselves down the scale, and our senses are a good way to do that. It's
Perfect.
why we're eating so much.
Sure.
It's one reason why we're eating so much, and plenty of people are drinking a lot, and so it's taking the place of a lot of things. So be aware of those things, and make sure the clothes you're wearing are comfortable and the air smells good and that kind of thing.
Yes. Those are very practical suggestions and I love them. So in below this video, I'll put a link for Pluto the dog. If you want to put up your video or a link to it underneath, you're more than welcome to as well.
Okay.
And thank you so much for hopping on this phone call and
Yeah,
giving us some grounding information about how to reclaim our mental well-being during a time of
absolutely.
a lot of
And
craziness.
and I really want to give a shout out, and please be thinking about those who are trapped at home. Domestic violence and child abuse is up drastically. So just send some light out
Okay.
to those
And
folks.
and to connect back to that, our last Live Well Spotlight was with Heather Knight for
Yes.
Surviving to Thriving, and they are doing a panty drive for the next month, and we are supporting that. And so if you go and look back at the other video, you can see the conversation we had with her, and there are resources underneath that. If you would like to be involved with that, or if you need to connect back for help. And so
Absolutely.
we are definitely holding space and want to support anyone going through that right now.
Yep. And I can't give out my stickers, but it's Sexual Assault Awareness Month too.
I love them. They're beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Claire. It is always so fun catching up with you. And hopefully we will, I'll see you in person sooner rather than later. And if you would like to connect with Claire, we'll also put her contact information under this video. And until next time, live well and healthy, and I'll see you guys later.